Hi, it's Hannah, and today's video is all about Roja Dove Diaghilev. Do you have a perfume on your wish list that is the perfume you would buy if you won the lottery? Well, Diaghilev was mine, and no, I still have not won the lottery, but I did start off this year by purchasing a bottle. The reason I bring it up as kind of my ultimate wish list worthy perfume is because the retail price of a 100 ml bottle of Diaghilev is about $1,000. However, after Boxing Day this year, I noticed that bottles were significantly reduced, and so I decided to get my hands on a bottle. The other thing that influenced my decision is watching the review of my good friend Ryan, who is the True Connoisseur on YouTube. You should check out his channel. He talked about the Roja Dove brand and the fact that Roja Dove is bringing in, for the first time ever, an outside perfumer, and that person is going to be in charge of the brand and making new perfumes. So he kind of seems to be launching a succession plan, which is not a bad idea for someone that's created a successful perfume line that's well loved by many, many people. And usually, well, sometimes when the owner of any kind of brand steps down or starts to move aside, you have to wonder how much longer that brand is going to be around and whether you're going to be able to buy the things that you've always wanted to buy. I know I felt the same way when Frederic Malle announced he was retiring from his brand last summer, and that has definitely influenced my decision to acquire some Frederic Malle perfumes and kind of explore them a little bit more, because if there are some that I really like, I want to add them to my collection before they're no longer available. I know in the past, when I was younger and I didn't have as much money because I was a student, I would really explore perfume by asking for samples or, somehow obtaining samples, being given samples, and I would just treasure them and hold on to them and not ever wear them because I knew that if I ran out of the sample, I would not be able to purchase the perfume or smell the perfume anymore because I didn't have the money to buy a bottle. But what happened sometimes is I just held on to the sample so long that I never ended up enjoying it, really. And perfume is meant to be enjoyed, it should be worn. And I also didn't end up getting a bottle, and so I missed the opportunity to get a bottle because eventually that perfume was discontinued. One of the examples of this that I can remember, I can remember a few, but one is definitely Bois d'Encens by Armani, which wasn't discontinued that long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but I really loved the scent when I was quite a bit younger, maybe 20 years ago, and I remember when it first launched. I remember when Armani launched their first perfume, and I thought it was so different than anything else I'd ever smelled. I'd never smelled an incense perfume that was like that. I didn't even really think about what incense was, even though I grew up with incense and we burned it in our home all the time. But I didn't get to really enjoy Bois d'Encens when I really loved it, and it's now discontinued. Another example is Vert d'Encens by Tom Ford, and I basically had the sample of Vert d'Encens for so long that, again, the perfume got discontinued, and that is one of the Tom Ford perfumes that's so hard to find. It might even be harder to find than Plum Japonais, which is also discontinued, but Plum Japonais seems so much more loved that it seems like people are always acquiring it and then also willing to share it, whereas Vert d'Encens seems a little bit more under the radar and maybe not as popular, and so maybe a little bit more difficult to acquire. But yeah, those are two examples of perfumes that I really liked, and I treasured the samples, but I never did end up getting a bottle. And now I'm at the position where I can just enjoy my perfume journey, and if I feel like I can afford to add the perfume to my collection, I will. And then if it gets discontinued, I won't have any regrets because at some point I will have owned it. And that is definitely the case with Diaghilev. I sampled this perfume quite a few years ago. I'll show you the bottle, the presentation. This is a 100 ml bottle, and beautiful cap on top, and it sprays really heavily. So the presentation is definitely beautiful. I don't know if it's worth $1,000, but it is quite a beautiful presentation. So I am at the point of my perfume journey where I can enjoy the things that I really like, and I didn't want to have any regrets for not picking this up when it was on sale, and so that is what I did. You can see that I'm surrounded by scent strips, and that's not because I've been comparing Diaghilev to every other perfume that I own. It's because I had a friend over today who really wanted to smell this, and so we sprayed it and we smelled it and we talked about it, and then we smelled lots of other things, and then I kept the scent strips out because I will revisit them throughout the week and smell all of them again and see what I think and what stands out to me. And this is usually how I end up deciding my next purchase. Is if I really enjoy it on paper, I will try to wear it on skin. If I have the sample, or if I can get a sample, I'll try to wear it on skin, and then I'll go from there. But sometimes it has to really wow me on paper. And yeah, so a few years ago, I was kindly sent a decant of Diaghilev, and I loved it right away. I loved how rich and opulent it smelled. I didn't know anything about what was inside of it or what I was smelling. I just knew that it smelled so luxurious and potent and old world. I love those kinds of scents, so it blew me away. However, I did spray it on before going on a road trip with my family, and I think people found it to be a little bit offensive because it was quite strong and it's very animalic, and so I decided not to get a bottle at that time. But I remember loving it. You know, I wasn't blind buying this perfume, and I would never recommend blind buying something you find to be very expensive. If you don't think that Diaghilev is very expensive, then go ahead, blind buy it. If you love old school Chypre perfumes, have at her. You will enjoy it. You will get somewhere out of it, I guarantee it. It is a very strong perfume, so 100 ml is going to last quite a long time. So what is the story behind Diaghilev, and why is it so expensive? Diaghilev was launched in 2010, and the perfumer behind it is Roja Dove, and he was inspired by Sergei Diaghilev, who was the founder of the Ballet Russe. The story goes that Diaghilev used to perfume the curtains in the theater so that when they rose, the audience would get to smell the perfume that was coming off the theaters. And it's such a story of opulence and luxury and of real sensorial immersion into the world of ballet that Roja Dove wanted to create something that represented that. That kind of explains why Diaghilev smells the way that it does. It is a old school Chypre perfume. So that means that it has a citrusy opening, florals in the mid, and then a real earthy oak moss base. An oak moss base and really a Chypre perfume in this style is kind of old school and a little bit difficult to find. It's definitely not the type of perfumery that a lot of newer brands are coming out with. And so that in and of itself kind of makes it stand out. It's also a very animalic perfume, and that's thanks to the addition of civet in the base. It kind of has this furry purr kind of quality when you wear it on your skin. You can almost feel like a cat or like an animal rubbing against you as you smell it. It's really interesting and not overly animalic. I wouldn't say that there's anything that smells disgusting to my nose, or it just kind of gives an added layer of complexity to the scent. The traditional Chypre structure is respected in this perfume, so you get things like citruses in the top, and in this case it's bitter orange. You get florals in the mid. I got a lot of rose when I was smelling this today. I kind of had this on my desk and I kept returning to it, and I got a lot of rose. I got a lot of ylang ylang. It's really fresh, but not too clean. There's also peach in this, and because of the peach, people often compare this to Mitsouko, which is kind of the reference Chypre that's out there. Maybe it smells like a older vintage version of Mitsouko, but I kind of think that when you are in the market of vintage perfumes, you can spend a lot of money and not really know what you're getting. And you can spend a lot of money and find something that's real, but then has, for whatever reason, disintegrated because of time and the air that's gotten into the perfume bottle. So I would say that instead of going down the road of getting vintage perfume, which may or may not be real and may or may not be in the best condition, I think for me, it made more sense to get something that was current, but made in the same style of a vintage. And a lot of those vintage perfumes had civet or a real animalic musk in the base, because that helps with the longevity of the perfume and helps the perfume stick to your skin. It also adds an element of something weird and strange to the beauty of the perfume. And it's almost that odd note that makes the florals seem prettier, the citruses seem brighter, and then the oak moss seem a little bit earthier because you've got that warmth of an animalic note that's in the background. There's also cumin in the note pyramid of this scent, and the cumin is just adding another type of animalic note to the scent profile. I didn't find it to be overly sweaty or unclean the way that sometimes cumin can be. I didn't feel like this smelled like unwashed socks or old laundry in the way that a lot of overly animalic perfumes can smell. I wouldn't even say that Diaghilev is as animalic as something like Kiehl's Original Musk or something like Mousse Kubla Khan by Serge Lutens. I think this stays on the right side of animalic, where it's animalic but still super wearable and very, very interesting. There is a complexity to Diaghilev that makes it a joy to wear for any perfume lover. And that complexity means that you really get a change in what you're smelling as you're wearing this perfume. So you get the bright citruses in the first little while, and then you get some florals, and then the animalic notes come in and out, and you can kind of smell them here and there. And then probably about 4 or 5 hours into the wear time, you get the earthy oak moss that kind of smells like dirt, kind of smells like mushrooms. It's just something that's intriguing and beautiful at the same time. And it makes you keep wanting to smell the perfume because you never really know what you're going to get. Are you going to get a return of the florals? Are you going to get rose this time? Are you going to get some of the animalic musks that are in here? Or are you going to get this earthy, dark oak moss on your skin? You kind of never know, and that is the fun of wearing Diaghilev. How does it compare to Mitsouko, which it references and people reference all the time when they're talking about this? I would say that current versions of Mitsouko are definitely not animalic and don't really smell as old school as this smells. It's a little bit powdery, a little bit dusty almost, and I love that about it. Again, I'll say that instead of looking for vintage versions of Mitsouko, you should buy something that is current and something that you know to be quite animalic and in the Chypre style. It doesn't have to be Diaghilev, could be anything else, but I think it's a safer bet to buy something that's current rather than looking for something that is vintage. How does it compare to other Chypres, like my favorite Chypre, Chypre Palatin? I think Chypre Palatin, and we sprayed Chypre Palatin today actually. Chypre Palatin is way sweeter and more ambery, warmer, has more of that jammy prune note and more labdanum in it. And Diaghilev, because it's not as sweet, it seems a little bit more masculine. It definitely gets to the dry down of the oak moss way quicker, at least on my skin, whereas Chypre Palatin, I would say, has an even longer wear time and an even slower unraveling of notes. So they're both different, and if you love Chypres, then maybe you just want both of them in your collection like I do. I think there's definitely days where I'm going to want to wear Chypre Palatin, especially when it's cold outside, but when it's a little bit warmer, I think I'll really enjoy wearing Diaghilev because it's not so sweet. Interestingly enough, if you go on the MDCI website, they do list Chypre Palatin as a men's perfume, even though it's quite sweet and quite ambery. And Diaghilev is seen as being unisex anyway, so anybody could wear it. But because it's not as sweet, I think I just perceive it as being a little bit more masculine. Of course, all perfume is unisex and genderless, so you should wear what you want to wear. Do I think it's worth the money? I think that if you want an old school animalic perfume, then yes, it's worth the money. I think if you're a perfume lover, it's definitely worth sampling, and I would never recommend that you blind buy anything. I think it's always worth sampling things, because even if you think you know what it's going to smell like, even if you're very familiar with Chypres, it could or it could not work on your skin. So you need to try it on skin and see what you get. But I think that this is one of those perfumes that everybody should smell before they get out of the perfume game. If you're on a perfume journey, then this is the one that you need to smell. Not that you necessarily need to own it, but try to smell it. I almost forgot to mention what the presentation looks like. So this is the box that Diaghilev comes in. It's quite a hefty, sturdy box, and this lid comes off, and the perfume is nestled inside on some satin, some type of a satin pillow. You can see it is securely in there. It is not going to fall out. I know that a lot of brands, like a lot of bigger brands like Chanel and Dior, are making packaging that is 100% recyclable and quite basic. I think that's great. And I think that this brand could go the same way and make something that is completely recyclable, because I don't know if this satin pillow is really necessary in protecting the perfume. But you do get a sense of that you are being presented the scent, and that's pretty nice. I'm happy with the quality of the bottle, the plate on it, the lid, the cap, the bejeweled cap that's here. I know a lot of people think that it is ridiculous in its opulence and a little bit over the top, but I am all for it because that is the aesthetic of the brand. One of the things that you can smell in the perfume is the richness of all the ingredients that have been put in. Roja Dove really wanted to capture the opulence of the Ballet Russe and that idea that you could be so extravagant with perfume and give people that sense of extravagance when they were sitting in the audience. So it wasn't all theatrics, literally. It wasn't just what you saw that was fake and being put on for you. It was also what you were feeling and what you were experiencing, and there was opulence and richness in that. And I love all of that. I think that that is really embodied in the character of what you smell. This doesn't smell basic, it doesn't smell boring, it doesn't smell cheap. It doesn't smell cheap. And you know, some of the perfume that I smell today smells a little bit cheap, honestly. It really does. And this one does not. So you might not like how much it costs. You might feel like it is too expensive for what it is, but it doesn't smell like something you got on the bargain shelf at the drugstore. So the presentation is beautiful. I'll show you the sprayer, and I know that my whole house is going to smell like this now. I think it's a pressurized sprayer. I do smell a lot of peach right away. And this is a card that's been sprayed already. It's really beautiful. It is really, really beautiful. So nothing has been spared in the presentation and in the scent itself. I probably put on one spray of this at about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was really getting to the base of it at about 1 or 2 o'clock, and it was pretty much gone by the time I ate dinner. So, you know, it has a decent amount of wear time. I think if I wanted it to last longer and be more potent, at least to me, I would maybe spray 2 or 3 sprays. I don't know if I would wear 3 sprays to work, but if I was going out to lunch or to dinner, I would feel comfortable wearing that amount of perfume. I would actually love to wear this on a walk. I think that would be a great time to wear this. I would love to wear this outside, but it does have a good, decent amount of potency. You're not going to feel like you're getting something that's weak. You're going to get something that is very impressive in the wear. It's not going to be so long lasting that you won't be able to wash it out of your clothes. And I don't want anything that's like that anyways, but you are going to get a nice scent bubble while you're wearing this. And that is something that I appreciate. If you want it to smell stronger, just spray more. I think 6-7 hours is a decent amount of lasting power, but I will definitely have to wear more sprays to see if that extends the wear time for me. I know a lot of what gets written about Diaghilev is kind of debating whether or not it is worth the money. And really, if you were going to only buy one perfume a year, and that's the perfume that you're going to wear every day, you might want to spend $1,000 on this, but you might not, because it might be a challenging perfume to wear every single day. If you're the type of person that likes to collect perfume, you want to build a collection of things that are referenced all the time and talked about all the time, then this is something that is probably on your wish list anyways. If you want something that is easy to wear and a Chypre, then I would say this is not easy to wear. This is not a perfume that you throw on. Even for someone like me, I love wearing Chypre perfumes. Would I wear this to a job interview? Definitely not. Would I wear it to hang out with my friends? Maybe. I think it's something that I could talk about and people would be interested in knowing what I was wearing. Would I wear it to a party? Definitely not. I don't think I would wear it to a party. I think it would maybe not be to everybody's taste, and I feel like it might interfere with the food that we're eating depending on how much I wear. Would I wear it to hang out at home by myself? Yes, I would wear it to hang out at home by myself because I think that I really enjoy smelling it, and if I enjoy smelling what I'm wearing, then I'm happy to wear it. Then that is a good perfume for me to wear when I'm hanging out by myself. I'll be in such a good mood if I'm enjoying what I'm smelling. So you have to decide whether you're going to be able to wear it or whether you're buying it to be able to collect it and have it in your collection. And that'll probably help you determine whether it is worth the money or not. I can't decide that for you. For me, finding it on sale made it worth the price, and being able to own the bottle, even if for a little bit, made it completely worth it. I know I did want to revisit it and compare it to Chypre Palatin, which I love and I've had in my collection for maybe about a year now. But for me, I think I'm going to wear Chypre Palatin way more, and I'll probably wear Diaghilev when it gets a little bit warmer. That's it for me. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've smelled this or whether you're interested in Chypres in general. What do you think? Is $1,000 too much to spend on a perfume? I'm interested in knowing what you are feeling or what you think. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.